welcome back, everyone, to the Bears Profit Plays podcast here on our YouTube channel. Today is Friday, January 20th, and we have 4 playoff games to discuss in the NFL. Joining me for these picks, we have, as always, Trey Trends and Teats. Guys, let's not mess around because these are all great games. We have 2 for Saturday and Sunday, and then player props for both days as well to get into. And we will start with the Chiefs versus Jaguars on Saturday afternoon. The Chiefs are -9. Over-under is set at 53. I will not be giving picks on 3 of these 4 games because I have those all as member plays for this weekend on BearsProfitPlays.com. I'm 5-1 picking sides so far this year on NFL member plays, and all our member plays can be bought right now for 50% off on the site, $4.99 for a month membership, and you can access these plays. $5 for 4 locks this week in the NFL. Come check us out. Since I can't give picks for most of these games, I will be your weatherman for these games. The Chiefs and Jaguars game will be overcast, 37 degrees with a chance of rain, turning to snow later in the game. Trey, start us off.
Turning into snow. Well, welcome to the Midwest, guys, because we live in Kansas and it sucks dick living here. But I'm going to go with the Jaguars plus 8.5 in this matchup. We all know by now that was the way I was going. I love to fade the Chiefs, and it's been making me a lot of money this whole season. I'm going to give you guys some trends later. The Chiefs cannot cover a game to save their life. We know that by now. And the Jags are possibly the hottest team in the NFL. The only thing that's kind of scaring me is which Trevor Lawrence are we going to get? The first half one of last week's game who threw 3 interceptions, or the second half who did an amazing comeback against the Chargers. I'm going to go with the Jaguars, like I said, and here's some good trends for it. Chiefs are 1-7-1 ATS in their last 9 home games. The Chiefs are 0-4 ATS versus a team with a winning record. Jaguars are 4-0-1 ATS versus a team with a winning record. Jaguars are 5-1 ATS in their last 6 games overall. Give me the Jags.
Teats?
I'm going with the Chiefs -8.5. You know, regular season Chiefs, they never cover, but the playoff Chiefs are a little bit of a different animal here. The Jaguars are honestly lucky. Like, they earned where they're at. They definitely grinded all season, and they definitely pulled it out against the Chargers, but they're lucky to be here. There's no reason they beat the Chargers. Chargers were up so big, and they fumbled the bag. So I'm taking the Chiefs -8.5. The Chiefs faced them off earlier this season. They beat them by 10. The spread was 10, so it was a push. So I'm just rooting for the Chiefs in this game in general. So might as well root for them to win in blowout fashion.
A split decision to start the show. Let's move to the NFC East battle on Saturday night. Giants versus the Eagles. Eagles are -7.5. The over-under is set at 48. Weather in this game will be clear skies and 38. Teats, start us off.
I wish you wouldn't have started with me, but I'll take it still. I've been riding the Eagles all season long, but the Giants have been very, 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 impressive the past couple weeks, especially with that big win against the fraud Minnesota Vikings. I was wrong when we talked about that last time. But I still have to take the Eagles -7.5 in this game. I'm riding the Eagles until they die. So we'll see if their season ends here or if their season ends in the Super Bowl. I feel like they could definitely make it to the Super Bowl, and the Giants are just a stepping stone on the way. I don't really know exactly where they're at with Jalen Hurts, if he's healthy or not, or if we're looking at another Gardner Minshew game. I think that's going to be a huge deciding factor for this line for me. But -7.5, I'd assume that they're expecting Jalen Hurts to play. Either way, I think the Giants season ends here. I think the Eagles move on.
Yeah, Teats, I have concerns for both of these teams, but more for the Eagles. Hurts says he's healthy and ready to go, but until we see it, I'm not going to believe him. The Eagles struggle down the stretch without Hurts, and if he's not on in his game today, I think the Giants can stick around. The Giants took down one fraud last week, and the Vikings and the Eagles, I haven't really got a read on them yet. It sounds crazy, but they could be frauds. They could win the Super Bowl. I have no idea. I just think giving a team a touchdown and a hook in a playoff game, especially a divisional game, Brian Daboll proved he can coach in the playoffs, and the Giants last week, Daniel Jones looked great. I'm going to take the Giants +7.5. That's too many points. Even though the Eagles did smack them early in the year, beating them, I think they put up 50 on them. So I'm still going to take the Giants +7.5 for Saturday night. Trey?
Well, we got Scotty Mack in the chat saying Eagles will win, no sweat. I think that this might be a game that the Eagles will win, but I don't know if they're going to cover this game. The Giants are pretty buzzing right now, and this is a little juicy, inside fact for this game. Brian Daboll was the offensive coordinator for Alabama whenever they benched Jalen Hurts to go to Tua. There might be a little bit of animosity there for Jalen Hurts, but also Brian Daboll knows how Jalen Hurts plays because he coached him in college. So this game is pretty interesting on a few levels, but I'm going to go with the Giants +7.5 here. Another good stat for this game. Daniel Jones leads the league this season with 11 games without a turnover. That's very surprising, especially if you look at where he was the past few seasons.
Yeah.
Give me the healthier team in this matchup, like both the Bear Pack boys said. We don't know what Jalen Hurts we're going to be getting in this game. And here's some trends. Bear with me. There's a lot of them, but they are very, very good. Giants are 5-0 ATS in their last 5 games overall. Also 5-0 in their ATS in their last 5 road games. Giants are 4-0 ATS versus a team with a winning record. And now flip over to the Eagles. Eagles are 0-4 ATS in their last 4 games overall. They're also 0-4 ATS versus their last 4 games versus an NFC opponent. And in this matchup, Giants are 5-1 ATS in their last 6 games in Philly. All good trends for the Giants, terrible trends for the Eagles. Give me Giants plus the points.
2 on the Giants, and Teats staying loyal to his Eagles. But let's do some player props for Saturday's games. Teats, start us off.
I'm actually going to be taking Trevor Lawrence, and I'm going to take his rushing yards once we get over there. I'm going to keep it pretty simple. It's just going to be the one play. It's going to be the Chiefs and Jacksonville game. It's going to be the game that I'll be watching, so I figured why not make everything way more interesting. Give me his over a 15.5 rushing yards. He hasn't been looking great as of late, but the Chiefs defense is definitely, their front seven's been a little bit better against the pass. Chris Jones is definitely getting in the backfield quite a bit. I feel like if the Chiefs do get out to a big lead, they're going to have to pass the ball a lot. But if they do pass the ball a lot, Trevor Lawrence is going to be able to get opportunities to get out of the pocket and scramble just to pick up some first downs. As you can see what he did against Dallas and the Jets, 21-51, it is a very possible line. And with the weather conditions being potentially the way they are, he may have to get out and run a little bit more. Maybe he doesn't trust his arm down the field if it's too cold out and it's a little too snowy for him. So give me the over 15.5 rushing yards.
Yeah, I like that, Teats. Good solid play there for the Chiefs game. I'm doing the 2-man power play like I always do, taking one Saturday prop and one Sunday prop, and it's been going great. We hit last week with ETN rushing yards and Godwin receiving. This week, my one for Saturday will be Brett Kern over 3 punts versus the Giants. It's weird, but this line is too low. I have to take it. The Giants are the 4th best team in the NFL of getting off the field on third downs. I think both these teams will come out fired up, and the defense will trade blows early. We should get a couple punts on the first 2-3 drives for both these teams. And when everything settles down, it's still a divisional rivalry game, and the defenses, I think, will play for all 4 quarters. So I'll take the over 3 punts here, hoping for 4 so we don't get a push for my Saturday prop. Trey?
Gotta love giving out those, quirky props. I guess mine could be considered a little quirky because it is a duo prop. I'm going to go under on this one. I think this is just a little bit too high for Daniel Jones plus Jalen Hurts, 476.5 passing yards. Don't got any stats up on the screen, so I'm not going to put that up there. But this just seems too good to be true, too high of a line because, if you look at it, these are 2 non-throwing quarterbacks. Both of these guys, when the push comes to shove, they would love to go for a 20-yard scramble because their legs are what got them in the NFL. And this game's going to be a pretty slow-paced game. A lot of, run them down, drag them out with Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts on the other side with Miles Sanders. So I think this is going to be a game of possession. I don't think it's going to be a game of, big plays. So I'm going to go under the 476.5 passing yards for this big Saturday night game.
All right, guys, those are props for Saturday's games. Let's move on to Sunday's games. The first game we're going to talk about is the Bengals versus the Bills. Buffalo at home, -5.5. Over under is set at 49. The weather in Buffalo will be 33, light wind and overcast. This is another member lock for me, so I'm not going to give a pick. Trey, start us off.
I love the weatherman. Thank you for that good weather forecast. It doesn't change my pick at all. I'm going to go the Bengals plus the points at 5.5. I think that they have a good shot to pull this game off. So this is just too many points. I think the public is probably going to be pretty heavily on the Buffalo Bills because of the Damar Hamlin situation. And I think that, respectively, it should give them a big bump, especially emotionally. They're going to want to play hard. Pat McAfee, I watch his show every day. He was joking around all week saying, Damar might come out, leading the boys through the tunnel with a ATV, wheeling it up. So if that happens, I would be switching my pick to the Bills, -10.5, because if that happens, that will be epic. But the Bengals are a lot better team, in my opinion. They were looking like the better team when they played just a few weeks ago. And even if they lose, I think it's going to be a field goal game. So give me the Bengals here plus the points. The trends are pretty good for it too. The Bengals are 4-1-1 ATS in the last 6 playoff games. And the Bengals are 12-3-1 ATS versus a team with a winning record. They've been very good this season. And the Bengals are 1-5 ATS in their last 6 games on turf. Their team's not, doesn't quite feel as comfortable when it comes to playing on turf versus grass. And Bills this season versus a team with a winning record or 1-5 ATS. So give me Bengals.
Teats?
I'm riding with the Bengals on this one, honestly. I think the Bengals are they may not be the better team in general, but they have definitely been the hotter team as of late, and probably arguably a more complete team other than the offensive line. But honestly, the offensive line's been doing a lot better. If I feel like, we had that situation that happened with DeMar Hamlin. It was a sad, scary situation. I'm so happy that he's doing a lot better at this point. I think if that game did play out, remove that injury, I think that the Bengals would have absolutely won that game. I don't know by how much, but they definitely had the momentum going in that game. And I feel like the Bengals are going to want to try to get that back pretty quick. The Bills just don't know how to shut out opponents right now. Josh Allen makes lots of mistakes at this point. And I think that he likes to keep games into it so he can have like a fourth quarter last minute drive to really get himself hyped up and going. But instead of putting teams away, he keeps them close, and sometimes they kind of bites you in the butt. So Bengals plus 5.5. They're also the team that I predicted to potentially win the Super Bowl. I'm right with the Bengals.
All right, so both guys on the Bengals for that one. Let's get into the final game on Sunday. A top 8 team in the NFL in 2023. The Dallas Cowboys will travel to take on the 49ers and Mr. Irrelevant in the divisional round. This is the first meeting since the slime game in 2022. Dallas hasn't beat the 49ers in the playoffs since 1994. I wasn't born yet. They have met 8 times so far in the playoffs. This sets the record for most playoffs fought between the two teams head-to-head. The 9th meeting on Sunday will break that record, and many are already calling this the game of the year. 49ers are now -4 at home with an over-under set at 46.5. I will publish this member pick at exactly 12:01 a.m. on Sunday morning on BearsProfitPlays.com. This play is worth the $5 a month alone. I promise you the weather will be 55 and sunny, the perfect football weather for a perfect game. Trey, tell me who's going to win this game and why.
All right. You know what? I rode with the Cowboys last week. I actually loaned Wolf with the Cowboys last week, money line, and it paid off pretty good for me. I was getting mocked by you guys. You guys were like, come on, you got to trust Brady, playoffs. And I was like, guys, look at the trends. Cowboys are hot. We got to ride with them. And the Cowboys did look really good last week, but they also played a very bad Bucs team. So we got to take that for what it's worth. 49ers enjoyed their week off. They've been, playing it for the Cowboys for a couple of weeks now. But it's kind of hard to trust Purdy. Everyone's, hoping Purdy's going to, fall off the face of the earth. But I'm not quite for sure if that's going to happen. Purdy still looked good last week. So give me Cowboys money line. You know what? I'm going to ride with the Cowboys money line. That is the pick I had. I got some trends for the Cowboys. Road team are 4-1-1 ATS in the last 6 meetings between these two teams. Cowboys are also 12-5-1 ATS in the last 18 road games. Been great on the road. Cowboys fans love to travel. Give me Cowboys money line.
Teats?
I'm taking the 49ers -3.5 on this one. If I actually let me back that up. Let's go ahead and buy the full point. Let's put it at -2.5. I don't want to get killed on that hook from a field goal potentially. So let's do -2.5 at that -180. The 49ers have proven themselves as a franchise over the past 4 years that really it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. They are a complete team. And with Brock Purdy, he's been looking like a pretty solid option and arguably better than what we've seen for them so far with Jimmy G and Trey Lance, which Trey Lance is still pending. We don't know how he's going to do when he gets back healthy. The 49ers defensively, they're great. Offensively, they have so many different gadgets and so many different weapons. I don't think that it really matters that much how Brock Purdy does. I feel like they can still find ways to win the game. And the Cowboys are a team that when push comes to shove, when pressure is like at its all-time high at the peak, they tend to fumble quite literally, especially Dak. He makes them, and he makes some boneheaded plays. So we'll see if rookie nerves gets to Purdy, but so far he's played with the I don't give a shit attitude. So I'm taking the 49ers -2.5 in this one.
A split decision. I will be the deciding vote on the website on Sunday, 12:01 a.m. Let's take a look at player props for Sunday's NFL games. Teats, start us off again.
So I was talking about being a Bengals. That was my team for the Super Bowl. So I wanted to take a Bengal, and I'm going to take Tyler Boyd. I'm taking like the third or fourth option, but I'm taking Tyler Boyd over his 35.5 receiving yards. Again, the last time these two teams met up, Tyler Boyd, I think he had one catch for 14 yards and the touchdown, which also caused a lot of drama for a lot of fantasy leagues, which Trey could probably talk about for a while. So I think that Tyler Boyd is going to be able to get himself open. The Bills are going to be keying in on Jamar Chase, on T. Higgins, Joe Mixon. They're going to try to get to Joe Burrow. Tyler Boyd's obviously not someone they're just going to forget about. But Tyler Boyd is definitely going to be someone that he's not going to be, one-on-one with their top-tier cornerback. He's not going to be doubled on the side with the safety. He's going to be able to have the open lane. And as long as Joey B can get through his reads quick enough to see that Tyler Boyd's probably wide open down the field, 35.5 is pretty easy.
Yeah, Teats. I'm going to go ahead and continue with my power play parlay. I have Brett Kern on Saturday over 3 punts. And on Sunday, I'm going to take Tyler Bass over 7 fantasy kicking points. Another what the hell pick by me. But Bass is proven to dominate in the cold temperatures of Buffalo. At home, he is 17-18 on field goals and has not missed an extra point. I think there could be some field goals early in this game as the defenses bend, don't break. Bass has hit 6 of 7 from 40+, and he hasn't missed from 50+, and he's perfect from inside 40. Very little wind and overcast in Buffalo, so weather shouldn't be a factor for him as he's used to kicking in the cold. So I like him to get a couple attempts early, and then we coast in the second half, getting some extra points attempts here and there. So give me Kern over 3 punts and Bass over 7 kicking points, a special teams parlay lock for this weekend. Trey?
All right, guys, let me bring you back to normalcy over here. I don't know what that just was, but I'm going to go with some rushing attempts because why not, especially whenever it's against – or especially since it's with the best rushing quarterback in the NFL. And now is the time to use them. The Bills have been very stingy with their quarterback runs this year. Over the last few years, we've seen them kind of over excessively run Josh Allen. And especially over the last couple of months, they've kind of scaled that back. And they've been waiting to use him for this time, the playoff time, divisional round, conference championships, Super Bowl. Age just too low. We saw he got 9 against the Patriots a couple weeks ago. Before that, he got 10 against Miami. Miami did a good job against him last week with only 4, but that game was really weird for Josh Allen. He was really good 1 minute, and then the next drive he was playing like a bonehead. So I think 8 rushing attempts is pretty low for him. I think that he could hit that hopefully midway through the third if everything goes right, because this game's going to be pretty close. The only way he doesn't hit this if it is a blowout, and if it is a blowout, Josh Allen rushing might be a big proponent of that. So give me over 8 attempts for Josh Allen against the Bengals.
3 plays for you guys on Sunday. That's 6 total plays for this weekend on player props. Let's move to the dog of the weekend. Bear and kicking props like peanut butter and jelly. You dang right it is. We're giving out. Oh, here we go. Each of us are going to give our underdog we think can win outright. Teats, start us off.
So I know that I was just talking about how I'm riding Philly minus 7.5 because let's be honest, Philadelphia does look like the team that can win. But if there's going to be a team that's going to lose, it could be the Philadelphia Eagles. So I'm riding with the New York Giants on it. Dable's done a great job with them. Daniel Jones has looked actually really good as a quarterback, which is weird to say because if I would have told myself that 2 years ago, I would have probably slapped myself silly. I just think that the Giants, even though I've trashed them most of the year, they are the team that could beat the Eagles and continue on the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Hawkeyes to beat Ohio State at Ohio State, plus 5.5 for the Hawkeyes, and they can score fast. 16th in point score in the nation. Only problem is they don't play defense. Ohio State is decent on both sides of the ball, but they are playing some terrible ball right now. They are unwatchable, losing 5 in a row and not covering the spread in any of those games, and a loss to Minnesota, who was plus 14.5 at Ohio State. They lost outright. Not a good time to be an Ohio State basketball fan. Hawkeyes have, 4 in a row, covering the number in all of those games. They scored over 90 twice and 80 once in those 4 games. I like the Hawkeyes to go on the road and win tomorrow. Trey?
Guys, we're trying to do as good as our guests are. Guests are 2-0 the last 2 weeks with 8 points. They've been whipping our butts. And, we didn't have a guest on today. We are trying to find some more guests. So if you want a guest, just comment below or just reach out to Bear on our Twitter, Bear's Profit. So we're always looking for new guests. But my pick is going to be the Bengals at plus 6.5. It's now plus 5.5. So I'll take the plus 5.5 still. I think it's still a good bet because the Bengals are a very good team. The Bills are a good team too, but this is just too many points for in a game what feels like a toss-up. Like I feel like this line's just kind of disrespectful. I feel like something just has to be happening, behind the scenes that we just don't know about. But just looking at the surface, plus 5.5 is just too much for the Bengals team that was in the Super Bowl last year, and seems to be that they don't want to, have a letdown. They're trying to get back there. So give me Bengals plus 5.5 as my dog.
All right, guys, let's do the parlay lock and end the show for tonight. I'll start. I'm going with watching Dallas in the divisional playoff round as my lock of the weekend. That's plus 100 if I cry during the game. Really good value here. Last cry about it moment happened last time these teams met, slimed out of the playoffs in 2022. So this is a great play, great value here. But my real lock is going to be Marquette on the road versus Seton Hall on Saturday money line. Marquette is a top 20 offense in the nation and can score without trying. Seton Hall can't score, but has a really good defense. I just watched Marquette play Providence, and they should handle Seton Hall as a small favorite. Seton Hall just beat UConn, one of my favorite teams in the country, but Marquette is a different breed of scoring in the Big East. So give me them money line as my lock. Trey?
Yes, I am going Bengals again, running it back. I had them as my dog, having them as my lock. That's how confident I am. I'm locking my dog in as my lock. 5.5 is just, like I said, too much. Give me Bengals.
Teats?
So, Trey, I wanted to tell you, I'm going with the Chiefs minus 9.5. I decided last second. Parlay lock. So if you guys are watching this video, make sure to be listening to my words and not reading the screen. The Chiefs minus 9.5. I cannot, even though it makes too much sense, I cannot take the Jaguars plus 9.5 against my Chiefs in the playoffs. So Chiefs are going to win by 10 or more, and we're going to ride off into the sunset with this one.
Good for you, Teats.
You know what, Teats? Teats can basically claim I'm right. The graphic says Jags, they won, but my word said Chiefs, they won. So either way, it's a win for him. I like it. All
right, guys, that'll do it for our picks, props, and predictions for this weekend slate of games. If you guys enjoyed the content, please be sure to drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel below. We'll see you guys next video, and thanks for watching.